Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. This is part 2 of building Tesla-inspired product configurator in Webflow. And in this video, we are going to integrate a Stripe checkout with the Webflow form completely no code. So let's dive right into the video.
That's something sweet.
So as you have seen that we created this setup using a Webflow form. So we have a Webflow form setup right here, and these are all custom fields that we have connected to our CMS. So these are radio buttons right now, but you can have any type of field you want. You can have select fields, you can have checkboxes. It's completely on you because it is form. You can have anything you want. Then we have a name and an email. So imagine this is a reservation form so that someone who is coming to your website for your product, they can first configure the product. It can be, let's say, maybe a glass or cup with some images in it. They are pasting the images, you are previewing it. So basically, that is the whole concept of the product configurator. You are showing a preview of what they are selecting, and then they can either book the product or they can pay a reservation fees. So in this case, we are taking an example of reservation fees because this is how also Tesla do it. They take, I think, $250 or something as the reservation. I'm not sure if that number varies, but the concept will be same. You can basically modify. You can modify the concept as you want using some JavaScript, maybe using make.com. So we are going to use make.com to make this setup no code and very easy to use. But let's get started. So right here, you can see that we have the form. So first we will actually go inside make. Let me actually show you the tools that we are going to use for now. So we will use make.com. So here, okay, this one is reCAPTCHA. So this one is the old one. We don't want to use that. So I have make.com. We are going to use Stripe as well because it's a Stripe checkout. So you will need a Stripe account. I'm going to use my test account right now to do this. And then we are going to use some documentation from Stripe itself. So if you go to Stripe documentations, you can see how checkout works. We are going to basically follow this guide here. You will find all the links in description of this video as well, or the session. So here is a guide that we are going to follow. And then we also want to make a few API calls. So for that, we have the API documentation of the Stripe that we are also going to follow. You might think this is like getting a very, not no coder familiar, friendly. It's not getting very not no code friendly. So this time, but we are going to actually make this with no code or low code. Let's see how it goes. I think we can make it with completely no code as well. So we have API calls. Then we have this again Stripe where I can see some payments which I was testing before the stream. So here and we have some metadata. I will come to that. But let's first understand how the Stripe checkout works. So here is a very nice diagram in the website from Stripe or Stripe documentation. You can find a very nice diagram that kind of explains you how the Stripe checkout works. Okay. So there are actually 2 or 3 different types of Stripe checkout. One of them is payment links, which generates a payment link for your product. So for example, I will go to Stripe first. And in order to do this step, first I need to create a product. So I can go to product catalog. And here I can create a product. So I have created a product here just to save some time, which is called Tesla reservation. And here, when you create a product, you can set a price to it and you can create a payment link. So payment link is first type of Stripe checkout, you can say. But the thing is, when you paste the payment link, you cannot really have pre-filled data there other than the email. But in our case, we also want to collect their preferences, the colors that they want. So our goal is to also collect all the information in the form as well as the checkout in the process. So during the checkout, once the checkout is completed, we should be able to see all the selections that they have made in the form. Okay, so that is our goal for this setup right here. So we don't want to use payment link because that is a no code solution. You might use it for single products or or multiple products in your website. These are like buy buttons, embeddable buttons. You can have maybe you can say that yeah. So those are payment links. We are not going there. The second is payment Stripe checkout. custom checkout basically. So in custom checkout, if I go to how payment works, so let's go to get started. Let me show you checkout quick guide, quick start guide. There we go. And here you can see that we have basically three methods. One of them is embedded form. The third one is custom payment flow, which is web element, which is called web elements. I'm just trying to explain these methods because you might use it in your flow. So the third one, which is called the custom payment flow, is actually based using Stripe web elements. So this particular integration is done when you don't want the user to leave your page. So for example, when I click on reserve, it will show me the card holder where I need to enter the card details, all those fields, like a pop-up maybe, or just down here below the button. So the user is not leaving the page, right? But in some cases, for trustworthiness, you might want to take them to a Stripe's checkout page so that, it kind of creates a sense of trust, right? So for example, ChatGPT does that. If you are buying a subscription for ChatGPT, it will take you to a Stripe checkout dashboard or a Stripe checkout page. A bunch of companies does that. Buy Me a Coffee, I was using that a few days back. So they also do that. So it's just for, it creates a sense of trust for the vendor or the store, basically. Yeah. So again, we are going to use the first one, which is again a Stripe hosted page, and not the web elements, because that's how we are going to do it. Maybe we can do one more session about web elements as well, but for this particular session, let's go with a Stripe hosted page. Okay, so for this setup, you can see now here comes the fun part. You can see that for this particular setup, we need a few different documents. Checkout.server.rb. So this particular, I don't know anything about Ruby, but this particular server file is based on Ruby. And then we have a checkout.html, so you can relate this to Webflow directly. So checkout.html is our Webflow website. Then success.html is our success page. Okay, so basically we can create a success page inside Webflow site. So that is our success.html. Then we have cancel.html, which is checkout canceled page. And then we have server.rb, which is server code. The thing is, because we want to do it no code, we are not going to use this code. Instead of setting the server using Ruby and hosting it somewhere, we are going to use make. So you can always remember that make can be used to set up your server all the time. Like whenever you see, it's not only about a Stripe. Whenever you want to set up a server to do certain tasks in the backend, like making an API call, getting responses, and then creating a flow based on that. So you can always use make for that purpose. So we are going to completely replace this Ruby code with make.com. So let's get started with it. So the very first thing is we want to set up the server, which let's go to make and set it up. And then we can jump to creating a checkout session. So let's go here and create a scenario right here. And in order to send the data to our make, we need to use webhooks. So the very first step of our make automation or the scenario will be using webhooks. And I can click on custom webhook. And then I can click on add new webhook. So I will add a new webhook. I will call it Tesla reservation fees. There we go. And I can click on save. It will give me a URL, a webhook URL. I can simply copy this to clipboard. Then I will go to Webflow, and in Webflow, I will go to the form, and then I will set the action URL of the form to that webhook. Okay. Then the method will be set to post, and you can have a form name. Basically, right now I'm naming it as checkout form. Let's also add one thing here. I will add reservation fees, just to make sure it looks like, a reservation form. So I'm just adding it now like this. There we go. So reservation fees, and then we have a name field, which I have named it name. Email is email, and then we have a reserve button right here. So this is the first step for us to do. And now we can bring our data to make.com basically for further processing. If I want to test it, I can publish the site, and let's see how the data is going through. Published, open that site. Now let's try to select blue color, then photon wheels. Nice. So I will just type here Harshit Agarwal, and I will type email here, test@harshit1.com. There we go. Or maybe session1.com. Let's do this, session1.com. Now when I click on reserve, you can see that it is, okay, right now it is saying there is no scenario listening for this webhook. So we want to make sure that our make automation is running. So I will just click on run once and then try to submit again. Let's go back, reserve, and it says accepted. Now if I go to make, you can see the form data has came here, all-wheel drive, blue, photon, name, and my email address. So you can see the data is now coming through make. And now we want to start running the function that was ran here, which is basically creating a checkout session using the Ruby library, but we are going to use make for that. Okay, so here you can see that we basically have a function here. You can completely ignore that. Instead, what you can do is you can go to make and click, basically select Stripe here. And then here you can find checkout. I think Stripe doesn't have a checkout. Yeah, Stripe doesn't have a checkout module in make, or make doesn't have Stripe's checkout module directly. They have payment intent, which is used for web elements, search customer, create a customer, a lot of things there. But it's completely fine because there is an option called make an API call. So I can simply click on that. And here I can select my Stripe account. You can connect your Stripe account by clicking on add and then paste your API key here. You will find your API key inside developers and then API option. I'm not going to open it, but yeah, you can connect it very easily. It's very straightforward. Just paste in your API key, your account will be connected. This is my account right now. So my Finsweet test account, there we go. And then here is the URL that I need to enter. So for this information, I will now jump to create a checkout session API documentation. So there we go. Let's go to Stripe, create a session documentation. And here you can see on the right side, it kind of shows me the calls, the parameters that I want to add, the body, the headers, and all of these things. So the first thing here that you see is your URL. So if you go to Stripe, you can also make a HTTP call, but because Stripe have an option of making an API call, it gets much easier because they by default add authorization headers for you in there, so you don't have to edit again. For here example, you can add a relative path to the URL. You don't have to paste the whole URL. So if I go here, you don't have to paste the whole thing like this, but instead you can just paste this part because we are already using a Stripe module. If we use a HTTP module, we have to paste everything from scratch. Nice. Then the method will be post, because again, you can see it right here. The method is set to post. Let me zoom in a little bit. Here is our method set to post. Then we want a header. So you here is header basically. And initially I used to be very confused as well, but you can, if you want to change the language right here, you can change it like maybe Node.js. You might understand this better, but the thing is there is no direct option to see the make structure. But the thing is, if you get stuck, feel free to ask ChatGPT, like convert this structure to headers and body pairs, basically something like that. But it is kind of fairly easy to understand. Whenever you see a -u, it kind of denotes the header. Right now here, data URL import success URL. This is the query parameters that we want to pass with the URL. So here, if you see the options, this is by default set. We don't have to change this. If you see query string, that is here. That is where we want to set the rest of the items like success URL, line items, and all of these things. Okay, so let's do this now. So first, I will have the success URL. So let's go to success URL. There we go. And if you are confused with the code, simply follow this on the left side. So let's scroll down, and we should see a success URL. There we go. And you can see it says required conditionally. So generally this one is required because we want to send users to a page after the checkout is completed. So let's copy success URL and we will go to our success page in Webflow like this. So for now, I have created a very simple success page here. Of course, you can have a very nice success page. This is very simple. Okay, so you can have a success page URL right here. I tried setting a relative URLs, but that doesn't work. So try to set the full URL instead. Then let's add another item. Again, very simple. We want to add a return URL, which is the cancel URL. We can set it, but for now, I'm going to skip it. Let's set up. Okay, what else do we have? We have line items, which is price. So if you try to understand this one, so basically price, and you can see there is some kind of ID, price underscore, blah, blah, blah. So the thing is, this is your product ID in easy words. So for that, you need to go to Stripe and you need to go click on your product that you have created. It is basically Tesla reservation for this, and you can find your price ID right here. There we go. So let's go to integration again, paste the value in here, and then line item price will be right here. Whenever you see this, like square bracket 0, square bracket price, and then we basically paste in a value. This is kind of, you can think about this as JSON format. So in JSON, it will look something like this. So line items, and then price, something like this. So this is how it would look in JSON format. And here is the price ID. So this is how JSON format, you can see, is converted into this one right here. And you can follow the same convention for the rest of the items. So there are multiple optional ones as well, like locale and all of those. We are going to use the mandatory one and a few extra ones. So let's go with success URL is done. Then line items price, and then line items quantity. So for our quantity will be 1. Let's add one more item. Quantity will be 1 because we just want them to place $250 order, not more than that. But again, based on a custom flow, you can take this number dynamically from the form as well. So that is how we actually do it. The next thing is setting the mode to payment. So there can be different modes. So for example, if I take you to mode, you can see there is payment, there is setup, which is charging the customer later, and then subscription is for fixed price subscription, you can see here. But for this particular one, it's a fixed price thing, a one-time payment. So we can use the payment option. So let's simply go here, type mode, and the value will be payment. Again, you can see example request right here on the right side. So now we have all the mandatory fields that we want. And let's click on OK. And if I try to run this module now, it should create, there we go, the status is 200. That means the URL was created successfully. The Stripe checkout URL was created successfully. It will basically return us with a Stripe checkout URL like this. On the bottom, you can see here, we have a Stripe checkout URL that we want to use to redirect user to. Okay. So if you again come to the basics of Stripe checkout, I was showing you how Stripe checkout works. That page, let me go there again. Okay. I will try to find that really quick, that diagram. How checkout works. There we go. This is the diagram. So right now, when we are submitting the Webflow form, this is the first step, send order information. We are creating a Stripe checkout right here. There we go. Then we are going to return the Stripe checkout session, and we are going to redirect customer to the URL that is returned to us. So basically the Stripe API will return a checkout session. So we made this request from the server to create a Stripe checkout session. We got this in return, which is a Stripe checkout session, which contains the URL, and then we redirect users to that particular URL. Okay. So once the user is redirected, here on the right side, you can see user is redirected to the checkout page. Once it completes the payment, now we redirect user to the success page, and then we handle the fulfillment. The fulfillment is, let's say, once the order is placed, you want to add this data to your CRM, you want to deliver them something, it's completely on you, okay, how you handle the fulfillment. But let's add the next step, which is sending back the data so that the user can be redirected, okay? So for redirect, basically the code, the status code for the redirection is called 303, which is for temporary redirects. So if you go to HTTP code for redirect, there we go. There are a few different redirect codes right here. We want to use this one, 303, used to redirect after a put or post request so that the refreshing the result page doesn't retrigger the operation. Okay, so this is the option we want to use. You can also find it here in make.com redirect URL. So they also have a redirect URL stuff. Okay, so make.com webhook response. So there we go. In webhooks, I think we should be able to find different type of redirects here too as well. Okay, so we have this. Let's find 303. So here we have 303. You can see how it kind of works. So we can set the status to 303, and we can set custom header values to location and to the URL where we want the users to be redirected. So we have the status to 303. Let's click on show advanced options and add a custom header here. The key of the header will be location, and the value of the header will come from the response. So this is what we have received from the response, if you see on the right side. And then we need to find the URL. So URL is right here. So we are connecting this dynamically because the URL is generated through Stripe API and it is given to us, okay, in the server. This is all happening in the server. And now we are sending back a webhook response with the URL. So let's click on OK. And then our basic setup is done right here. So let's click on run once. And then I will go to Webflow, go back basically, just like this. And then now I will try to fill in the form. So test session1.com, Arshita Agrawal. And then let's click on reserve. And it should redirect me to Stripe checkout. There we go. And if you want to see this happening live, so let me do it again. I will click on run once, go back, and this time I will select white and click reserve. And you can see it is kind of happening live here in Make, step one by one. Once the third part is done, user is kind of redirected. So now the user is right here, and you can see that I can fill up email and card information, card holder name, etc., etc. Now you might be wondering, why is there no email pre-filled? Because we have already filled it in the first step, right? So let's do that actually. What we can do is again go to Stripe API documentation, and here you can see we have a few different options. Like we have an option to select a customer, which is customer ID. So if you have an existing customer flow with you, you can pass in a customer ID. But because we don't have that, we can basically, or you can pass customer reference ID. Maybe you are using Airtable and inside Airtable to store customer information, and the Airtable IDs are your client reference ID. So you can use that as well. But in this case, let's simply go with customer email. This will create a new customer for us if it doesn't exist. So I will again go to the second step. Here I will add customer email. I will link this one to email right here. Again, this is all linked dynamically. Let's also add some of our metadata because we want to transfer these information as well. So first let's check this out. Run once, and this time I will go back and click again reserve. And now you will see that the email will be pre-filled and I cannot change it because this particular checkout session is only created for this particular email. That this user, when he pays or when I pay, basically, this particular checkout will be allotted to my customer ID basically in Stripe. So that is how it is done. So you can see I kind of set up a customer email. Let's see what else we have. We have metadata that we are going to use to pass in the metadata, which is color, wheel type, and everything that you want to pass. And you have a bunch of different things as well that you can use basically. So I think we won't need to use a lot of things. We just need to use metadata. So let's try to submit this form. And this is basically a test card that you can use in Stripe. I will go with United Kingdom address because in India address some of the things doesn't work. I will take a random address. By the way, whenever you want to test with random address, you can use randomaddress.com. I think that is the website, bestrandoms.com. This is very helpful a lot of times. So I can take a random address here, street. Let's take zip code and the city. Okay. And now I should be redirected to the success page because I have already provided that URL. So let's see if it works. The payment has been made and I am redirected to success page. Nice. So yeah, this is, you can see this is working really great. Now let's try to, let's go to Stripe and see how this looks inside Stripe. So I will go to payments and I will go to the latest one, which I tested right now. This is the one, test@session1.com. And if I see here, I can see this is the customer information with the address. And I have not added metadata yet, so I am not seeing it here right now. But you can see the response is right here. Everything is present right here, basically. Yeah. Let's now go and add metadata this time. So we will click here and then we will add the metadata. Click on metadata. You might see two options here for metadata. Where is Stripe API? There we go. So this metadata right here, this was kind of not working accurately when I tested it. Let me show you what I exactly mean. So how you can do metadata is you can first see how it works basically by clicking on this link. It will take you to the metadata section. So you can see example, we pass the metadata like this. So let's go to make. So I will first pass paint and I will link paint to what this particular field from the form. Create a new field. This time it will be model, and then model will be linked to model type. And then the third one will be wheel. So let's have wheel in there and link it to wheel type. Now if I did not save it. I save it, run it once. And then let me show you again, really quick. Reserve. It has created the Stripe checkout. Photo. There you go. I will try to be quick. United Kingdom. Oops. Okay, let's see if it works now. And the metadata will go right now, but it wouldn't appear in your Stripe payments section or payments page. So, okay, the payment has been made successfully. So payments is already working. We are just trying to refine it further. Let's go to payments and the latest payment. This is the one. And if I go down here, you can see the metadata is not visible here. But if you check the response, you will see the metadata will be visible in the code. See, we can see the model, paint, and wheel. So the thing is, the trick to fix this issue is to use payment intent metadata. So what Stripe does in the backend as well. So here in this particular portion, when Stripe is trying to create a checkout session, it also creates a payment intent in the backend for you. Basically, Stripe does all of that work. And when Stripe creates a payment intent, that is where we want to add the metadata in order to make it visible in your payment section, if you want to make it visible there. Otherwise, you can always, whenever you pass the next step, let's say it is Airtable, you can always pass the values from Webflow directly without even worrying about Stripe, okay? But in this case, we want to see the data passing through Stripe as well. So let's go to our create a session documentation, and here you will find this particular option. So payment intent data, let's copy this one. Again, it will be key value pairs, and I will follow the same structure for the URL encoding. So here, if I go add a new item, sorry, let's not add a new item, just edit this. Payment intent metadata. There we go. So instead of having a dot here, I will have these square brackets here. So metadata, and then I will type here wheel. There we go. Or maybe wheel type. Let's do wheel type. Now let's copy the whole thing like this, and I will paste it here. Paste it here as well, and then click OK. So that is it for this setup. Let's click on run once. We will go to the site again. This time I will use a different email ID, session2.com. Let's select blue, real wheel drive, and Nova. Click on reserve. The form is open. There we go. Bring this up quickly. Gape test. Okay, so we need an address right here. Let's go to random address. I'm using Windows, so I can copy multiple things at the same time. There we go. Okay, let's click on pay. Processing. Payment is done. Success. Cool. Now let's see. Go to Stripe. Payments. And 21 successful payments. The top one is what we want to see. And if I scroll down, I should see, there we go. The model is real wheel drive. Paint is blue. Wheel type is Nova. Voila. So this is how you can get all the data. So you can see that it is kind of very flexible. You might be wondering like, hey, why are we not using Webflow e-commerce for this purpose? So definitely you can use Webflow e-commerce for a lot of this as well. But the thing is the flexibility of the form and different types of fields like checkboxes, radio buttons, a custom image field, building a custom configurator where let's say you have a mug where you want people to paste in their image URL, and then you want to get that image URL in your form submission. So there are a lot of things that can be made with this flow, which might not work with Webflow e-commerce. So again, the concept is what you need to understand the best, and you can use it in different applications basically. So yeah, so let's see. Now let's try to create a custom maybe success page. Yeah, let's do that actually. A custom success page. So let's try to add success message and a thank you message maybe. So thank you. Let's add here name for thank you Harshit. Let's say your reservation is successful. Let's try this. I have not tested this, but I think hopefully this should work. Do I have a section template or something? Okay, so never mind guys. I'm just building a very skeleton-like section here. And I think we can use here Finsweet's attributes, and we can use the query parameter because we want to go with completely no code. So let's use everything we can to make it no code. So let's go to query parameters by Finsweet query attribute solution basically. So what we can do is with this method, we can pass some attribute URL parameter values to show some content in our HTML page. It can replace a text. It can fill in an input field. So you can do all of those things basically. So for example, if I can see example right here. So UTM platform is Twitter. Okay, so let's actually see it instead of talking more about this. I will show you what it means. Okay, so first I will paste this to the success page only. I don't need to paste it to the home page. Success page is there. And then I will go here and click on get query parameter name. The first thing is get your query parameter value. So what we need to do is we need to go here in this name. This is what I want to replace. I will make this a span and add an attribute to this. Let's name this to customer name. There we go. And let's say I also want to show them their maybe maybe an ID or something, or maybe what they have selected. So let's maybe add a few more things here. So I'm adding just maybe order details. Sorry guys for building such a bad design, but it will be functional. So let's see order details. For example, we have model, and then here I will have model, and then we will have paint, then we will have paint and wheel. There we go. Let's see if we can also get something like order ID. So your order ID is, there we go. You can generate an order ID in Make and then use it. So it's completely on you. Make gives you full power. So let's see if we can do that as well. Cool. So now I will simply go here, make this a span, and start giving them these attributes. So fs name, this one will be order ID. This one will be wheel type. This one will be paint, and then this one will be model. So let's also replace this text here. This text doesn't have to be in curly brackets. This is just for representation purpose. So wheel type, there we go. So that you can understand it easily. Okay, wheel type is there. Paint is there as well. And then model. That is it. Okay. Yeah. Yep. And order ID. Cool. So we have these information with us now. And now inside Make, first let me show you actually how this will work. So here is my success page. Let's add query parameter. So the structure is generally it starts with a question mark and then with something like this. So customer name. This is the name of the query parameter, and with is equal to the value. So my name is, for example, Harshit. If I click enter, you can see this is getting replaced. So this is what Finsweet's attributes query parameter is used for. So you can see this is Harshit, and I can add more values. So I can click add, which with this add symbol right there, and symbol, and model is equal to test. So you can see this is now getting replaced. So model is, let's say, Tesla 350 or Tesla 3, model 3. There we go. Similarly, I can do rest of the things as well. So let's now construct this right like this. So model is equal to test, and paint is equal to test, and wheel is equal to test. The reason I will tell you why I'm adding test and test here, and then order ID is equal to test. So all the things should be now replaced by test. Okay, wheel is not replaced because I just have wheel here. It should be wheel type. There we go. Oops, I think I have an error in my wheel type is equal to test. Int is equal to test. Int is equal to test. Wheel type is equal to test. Okay, here we go. Wheel type is equal to test, and order ID is equal to test. Let's try to refresh this one. Oh, I think I have added attribute to the whole thing. There we go. That is why it's not working. You can see that I have added a wheel type attribute to the whole heading. Let's remove that, and then it should work fine. That is why it is replacing the whole text with a test placeholder there. So let's wait for it to publish. There we go. Enter, and now you can see wheel type. Or maybe wheel type is not added here. Or it is not even added here. Let's quickly add that. Sorry, my bad. And name wheel type. So I'm creating a custom success page basically right here. Okay, let's refresh. And there we go. Now you can see everything is test. So now what I will do, I will copy the whole URL, go to make.com. Inside this success URL, I will construct a custom URL. So let's paste the URL. And here, customer name is Harshit. So let's replace this with the name that we received in our form, which is Harshit. There we go. So this, you can see the power of make now. It's truly no code. I just love it. Model is model type, then paint. I'm just replacing the test with everything. Paint is blue. Wheel type is Nova. We just don't have an order ID, so let's create a order ID as well. So for that, I'm going to use a new module here, and I will call it create. Let's see, compose a string. Nope. There is an increment function that we can use possibly to create order IDs basically, or I can maybe find a UUID as well. So let's see if I can create a UUID. Yeah, I think I can use this. No, generate. Do we have an inbuilt module? If not, we can create our own, but it's fine. Let's see. No, not here. Text parser maybe. No, not here as well. Cool. No worries. We can create a new thing here as well. So let's create an increment function. This basically counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every time it is unique. So this will be a reset value. Reset value is never. So for example, if I run it now, you will see the value is returned as 1. If I run it again, the value will be 2. Run it again, and the value will be 3. So now let's set up a new step here. And this will be compose a string. So compose a string. Oh, compose a string. Let's add it here. Click on magic. And here the string will be based on, let's say, TES, our code, then our increment function, then today's date, let's say. So I will go to date and pick up variables. You can see it says unique timestamp number of seconds since no, this is not current date and time. Let's do that. So current date and time. You can see I'm trying to create a unique ID, and that's it. I think I will call this step create UUID. So this is what we are going to use as the order ID. Okay. If you are using Airtable, you can use Airtable's item ID as order ID as well. It's completely on you how you want to do that. But let's go to the URL construction again, and in order ID, paste in the text that we created from here. That's it. So let's say run it once. I will type here 2, and this is the output. You can see this is our order ID right here. It looks a bit big, but again, we can change it a little bit. So let's see, go to day now, add minutes, add hours. Okay, let's say we just want to add days, add months. So let's just try to add. For now, let's just try to add the timestamp for the now. Returns a new date as a result of adding giving number of hours, date, and to subtract hours, enter and negative digits. Okay, cool. We can try this as well. So add days, select now, and then this is fine, 0. Let's see what it returns. 1. Okay, so okay, it is returning this. It is fine. For now, I'm just going to use now here. Timestamp. Okay, cool. Oh, maybe I can find a UUID here as well. Let's see. Things. Math function text. Oh, there we go. Text variable UUID. Let's see, maybe this will work directly. We don't need to even create something in this module too. Oh, there we go. It is generating a unique ID. I think we are good then. We won't need the whole thing. Yeah, we don't even need this tool we don't need. So create UI ID. It's completely on you guys. I'm just showing you an example. In Stripe again, I will go to this and select the text, which is the UI ID. Let's align everything again. Okay. And I will also pass the order ID as metadata. So let's also do that really quick. Meta order ID. There we go. Again, this will be the text. Cool. So now I will just save it, run it once. And now let's check our flow. Let's go to the home, real wheel drive, red, photon wheels, gap, test at the rate session3.com. Let's do this. Click on reserve. And you can see that checkout is now created. Let's add all of this. Test name. Okay. United Kingdom. Let's click. Let's add the random address. Hey. Gabe is saying I will be expecting my car soon. Yes, I have placed around 3 orders for you, I think, already. There we go. Thank you, Gabe Test. Your reservation is successful. Order details, and then your order ID is also here. So voila, yeah, we just created a custom success page as well using Finsweet's query params. So these are the use cases, guys, different use cases. And you can see that we created the whole Stripe checkout completely no code. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments down below, and make sure to give a like and subscribe to Finsweet to see more of such content. And this is Rashid Agrawal signing off. Have a great day. Bye bye.